Here's a peek at what guests had to say after the show.
Okay, we are back. Now, what is the likelihood sanctions against Russia will have a positive effect? Jim S. asks. Well, I think they could. I mean, I think you know, we've seen a lot of kleptocracies before. You know, I mean, there's a lot of tyrants in the world who have made no distinction between their own personal bank account and the country's treasury. Mobutu, remember him in Zaire, and Marcos in the Philippines, and Papa Doc in Haiti. I mean, this is common practice. But Putin could actually be the worst.
I think we got to remember that Russia is a dying and decaying power. You know, they're kind of sustained because energy prices are high. They have no serious economy. Their population is shrinking. This is not an ascendant power. This is a power that is collapsing, and they're trying, Putin, and the person of Putin, trying to, you know, relive the days of Russian empire. We should try to expedite that as fast as possible, and sanctions might be the key to that.
And Obama deserves credit for the tough sanctions he imposed 2 days ago.
Jane, Obama never deserves credit. Get that through your head. Well, he's always weak and emboldening people.
There are those zombie lies.
I thought that only worked when I did it. Okay.
Losing your power.
No, I guess I am. Does the Reverend Barber, does the news media's constant reference to the N-word instead of using the actual word in context help or hinder national discussion on race and racism?
That's an interesting question. Well, you know, I don't know if the constant referral to the N-word is in. The problem with the race discussion is we don't really want to have a race discussion.
Right.
And we don't want to unpack how race is behind the denial of Medicaid, how race is behind these voter suppression laws. You know, in our state, for instance, the Speaker of the House, Tillis, said he was passing a voter integrity law. But you wait until after Shelby. After Shelby, someone says, now that the headache has been removed, that's a code word, and then you change 40 different laws of our state laws, and every law that you change, from same-day registration, early voting, to straight ticket, all are laws that will impact African Americans and other minorities and women. We don't want to talk about how ever since that Kevin Phillips came up with that so-called white Southern strategy, people have used these code words. So I'm not so much worried sometimes about folk who use N or the actual word. What I'm worried about are people who engage in policies that have a systemic discriminatory impact on minorities and African Americans.
Well said, sir. Nate, what must happen for the public to consider Obamacare a success or at least a wise idea? Yeah, that's a great question for someone who crunches the numbers.
Well, it's a hard question to answer because these are policies that are going to take years to go into effect. You know, Obamacare was trying to solve a problem where you have however many Americans who are uninsured. Still, most people were happy with their insurance. That means the range of people it's affecting is a modestly sized, in fact, a significant sized minority of the population. But, you know, will they have health care that they like? Will they see that it's cheaper or not? Or will their premiums have gone up? You know, I don't think all the rhetoric you hear right now from Republicans and Democrats is going to really matter very much in 5 years when people have experience where they lose a job and they get this care, or they find that they can't get the coverage they want.
We talked about a poll that said something like 3/4 of Republicans who got Obamacare were happy with it.
Right.
Even ones where their policies.
Well, that's what I was saying before, is that the number of people who have been in this group of uninsured people, it's a big problem in my view, but it's still a minority of the population. So in theory, you can make some people very pleased because now they can get care when they didn't have it before, and everyone else a little angry because their taxes might be higher.
I voted for it, folks, and the law was not perfect to get
If only
it
the
passed.
Democrats knew how to brag about themselves like you do. That's what they need to learn how to do.
Unfortunate that it was a partisan vote. And should the law perhaps be amended? Yes, it should. There are things that don't work well, but a lot of the provisions are hugely popular, and the number of uninsured is going down. So in the net, it is a positive, and unfortunately, Obama is not telling the story very well, because I do think in the country, when more people understand what the law actually does, it will become more popular.
Bill, you know,
it should.
One of the things that I struggle with was my Republicans, and I call them extremists, because we have some good Republicans. My granddaddy was one. they claim to love Jesus so much, and Jesus, if he didn't do anything, he went around setting up free health clinics. And so why in the world are they so against health care? Secondly, in our state, with all of the attempts to stop it, we were the 5th highest state to receive impact from Obamacare, people signing up. You want to know if it's a success? I prayed to live long enough that my daughter, who has hydrocephalus, would not be able to be denied health care. That was one of my prayers, and there are millions of other parents in this country that are glad now that their children will be able to have health care.
Yeah, it does seem a little strange to me that the party that always claims the mantle of being the Jesus lovers do things that I can't imagine Jesus approving of, like stopping a bus full of children from coming into the country. I mean, that just doesn't seem like, or gay. It doesn't seem like Jesus who catered to the sick and the lepers and the hookers would then come across the gay people and go, oh, you make me sick, fag. That just doesn't seem Jesus-like to me.
On the other hand, I agree with you to a certain extent that some treat the border issue not realizing that there are children down there. But just this week, Glenn Beck has sent caravans full of supplies and soccer balls and things to help the children. I mean,
right.
And he also said it probably is the greatest threat to my career. So I would say to Glenn Beck, hang out with different people. If this is a great threat to you because your fans will hate you for it, maybe your fans aren't good people.
And if you want to send something, don't send balls, send a change in immigration policy, and let's welcome these children. That's in fact, and by the way, Bill, I want to tell you something. When it comes to atheism, I'm an atheist too when it comes to those folk that say that Jesus is on the side of bigots and on the side of those that hurt people. That kind of God, I don't know him either. I believe in a God of justice, a God of love, and a God that cares for the stranger and welcomes people regardless of who they are.
Well, it's good to know you're a fellow atheist, Reverend. You are... You are nothing if not a convener. I've always said that about you. What a convener this guy is, a word I just
Send him to Congress.
George, in the world of 60s television, was there a sort of gay underground from which you could draw some support, or did you just have to go it alone? Oh, yeah, who were the other gay people then? There must have been.
That was the period of the AIDS epidemic.
No, this is the 60s.
Oh, I thought you said 80s.
The 60s. When you were on Star Trek, he's saying, was there a gay underground that you could get, other people, I'm guessing, on Gilligan, perhaps? Or...
There were what's called gay bars. And there was an organization called the Mattachine Society, which was organized and actually articulating for equality for LGBT people. So there was that. But I had a career that I wanted passionately. I love acting.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I were out and advocating...
And then he's asking about support from other people who were in your same shoes when they were in the 60s, television, you couldn't come out. I'm just asking, like, Mr. Drucker, perhaps, on Petticoat Junction. I always thought he was a little light in the loafers, I'm just saying,
Well, there were gay people.
Colonel Bellows on I Dream of Jeannie. I mean, come on.
Yeah, so there were all these support people. There were
Carpenter on McHale's Navy. Give me a break. I mean, these people were playing.
Yes. But I didn't want that kind of career.
Right.
I wanted, a career where I could grow and maybe do some, substantial roles.
All right.
And if I were asking for support as a gay man, forget it.
Right.
I couldn't be an actor.
Next week, I'll tell you who was gay on Hee Haw. Thank you very much, everybody.
Real Time with Bill Maher. Ask Bill and his guests your questions right after the show at HBO.com or on Twitter.